Hi everyone, good afternoon. Warmest greetings to everyone. I hope you're having a great Saturday afternoon. And it is with great honor and pleasure that we're having our third day of our General Assembly in our youth government, the TAF International 2020 organization. And it is with great honor that I present to the world now, or just to YouTube for now, Madam President of the General Assembly. So this is our first General Assembly, and it's being led by a female because generation equality exists. And we're also honored to have Mr. Eduardo Nicolas, or Edward Nicholas, who
Thank
is
you very
a
much for
poet.
having me.
And we have Mr. President of the International Youth Commission, sorry, and we have Madam Speaker of TAF International 2020 organization. All right, so Madam President of the General Assembly, the floor and the platform is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. So
Yeah,
we're back here, and I think first we're gonna listen to Eduardo because he has something to say to us, and he's a poet between many things. Because I have the pleasure to say that he's my friend. So first, I think we're gonna listen to him because I think that's gonna be inspiring enough for us to begin with our experiment.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction. I will now read one poem of mine that I wrote between a year ago and a week ago, and I would like to share it with you if that's okay. It is called Pancake Syndrome, which it's basically just a fancier word for writer's block, but it is also a prettier word. So spot the poem in the room. Anyway, here we go. It's blank page syndrome, but in real life. The minutes turn to days, and I'm wishing for a right, or a left, or a sign of any kind, hoping that will be defied, redefined at last, once again of all days. It's said that a stop clock can only be right twice a day, but that's a lot of times if stuck since May, and we're frail, we've shown that. We're human, and it's natural. The same imperfect future that was so undesirable has been thrown to disarray for every reason we didn't hope for. We did left warmth, thoughts, and trouble. Substituting them was scourge and gravel. Darkened scenes to match the current bitter taste of fate. And it's late to go back, but that's what one remaining strength. For we have a thread of rope with hope to knit the world with. And maybe this time I finally learned how to sew.
Wow.
Uh,
In case
I
anyone's wondering why I'm doing this, it's because I learned something not very long ago, but also not in school. But I learned through listening and learning from other people that, of course, there are people in the world who are deaf, right? And now we're having a conference, so we can't really make too much noise because it might affect our recording. But I was like, yeah, if I'm gonna clap for an excellent poet like that from now on online in a conference, I'm gonna do this because that's me respecting equality, gender equality, because there are people who are born deaf and it's not their fault. There are people born so many ways and it's no one's fault. But yeah, thank you for that poem. And I'll just let Madam Speaker maybe ask you questions or Madam President ask you questions.
Well, I think the poem was really beautiful, and I really liked the way that it ended. I don't know what you guys think.
It is actually beautiful because I used to do that before in school, but I don't know why I stopped. So I feel inspired by him saying all that.
really
yeah. That was amazing. That was lovely.
thank you
So
very much.
my question is, what inspired you to write a poem about writer's block or blank page syndrome, which you just taught me, by the way?
Well, ironically, I had not experienced much of it until pandemic hit, and there were, to say the least, much more pressing matters on my mind on a regular basis. And I started to associate the two up to the point where, well, blank page syndrome almost turned into something that reflected how I felt in real life, in my everyday life. And it also led to the end of the poem, which is the realization that although writer's block is a thing and you get stuck, and we might feel stuck under the current circumstances. That doesn't necessarily mean that it has to go back to the way it previously was. We could use this as an opportunity to move forward, to reshape the world in a way that we see better than where it was before. Because if everything stopped for a minute, everything can change in that same minute.
Wow, that's so inspiring. If everything can stop for a minute, then everything can change in a minute. And that's exactly what's going on with the world right now with COVID. Our whole world stopped, and no one has control of when it can go back to what we think we want it to be. But yeah, if it can stop for a minute, then we can change it for a minute. I really want that to resonate with everyone in the world who can listen to this, anyone everywhere. That's inspiring, and that's why I hope that every week when we do something, we're gonna have an inspiring person to come and join us. Because I don't know if you heard what you said, but like I said, my good job is to learn to listen. Because when I listen, I get wealth of knowledge from so many people. So I don't know, Madam President, if you have anything to add.
I've always loved Eduardo's poems because I think they're really raw, and there's this kind of really intimate feeling around them, and you kind of feel this like newborn seed inside of them, and they have so much potential, and they just reach everyone that listens to it because of like they have so many different interpretations as many poems, but I don't know, like it's really raw.
Can I like quote you on that because I'm gonna write that down. If the world can stop for a minute, then it can change for a minute. Do you mind if I quote you on that, Mr.
Feel free
Eduardo?
to.
Okay, great. Who's drumming? We have a drummer in the house also. It's like a mystery experiment. No one knows who's the drummer, but something's gonna happen soon, like in a horror movie. Okay, so I don't know, Madam President. This is the floor and the platform is yours. This is your General Assembly, so you can lead the next question, or you can invite Mr. Eduardo to stay if he likes to, or if he has stuff he needs to do. It's all up to him, and it's up to you, obviously.
Yeah, I think we're gonna begin with the experiment. So I don't know if you want to stay because I don't know if you've heard of the experiment or what we're doing here, but if you want to stay, you're welcome.
I have not heard of it, so I don't know if I will be able to contribute that much, sadly. I'm not gonna lie.
Don't, please don't. Then, well, thank you for joining us for these first 8 minutes of our General Assembly, and we're so honored to have been inspired by your poetry.
And I am honored to be here in these first few minutes. We will continue to support each other along the way. Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing amazingly.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so now if you want, we can begin with another trial of our experiment. For those listening, well, watching now, we are conducting a new trial of our public health diplomacy experiment. And now we have a new key factor, right? Because we had size of the room, we had age last week. So this week, what do we have?
We could speak about the race.
Perfect. I think that's a really interesting key factor to take into consideration in our experiment. So, how do you think race uh, takes a role in this experiment?
Okay, so firstly, we don't know how they are, like, we don't know their race. It could be two people black, two people white, or three people black, one person white, or three people white, one person black. So we don't know yet. But if I'm gonna speak about the race, I'm gonna make it equal and say two people black, two people white. But I'm not gonna say that anyone there's racist, but depending on the way their skin color is, there could be kind of a separation between the black people and the white people because there's a relationship between them, because white people could have a better relationship than black people. Because, for example, the blacks could come from the exact same place, and if they're in that room and they're like in different places, they could stay together and know what's going on. They could maybe speak the same language or anything. And the same with the white people, they could understand themselves better because they're like from the same place and have an understanding of each other.
Hmm. Because of course, if you speak the same language, or even sometimes when you go back to your hometown, maybe you don't like your hometown that much, but you get this feeling of homesickness. For example, when you're away and you encounter someone that's similar to those from your hometown, so you get familiar with them easier than with other people. So I think that's what you're talking about, and I think that's really interesting because, well, race is a pretty interesting thing to take into consideration here, and more, if even more if I'm talking about medical issue, because if race sometimes make people afraid because of not knowing that we're just human beings and we're the same, medical issues also bring a fear in people. So that those things combined could be kind of a ticking bomb in some situations. So I don't know what you guys think.
Okay, so yeah, you're right. And I want to add something to it. The way he said it was okay. And I have it on my list here from the first person, second, third, and fourth. There are some details I added, which is a little bit interesting for us here right now. So I'm going to just say it out. Okay. So we have the John Doe, which we said he has the best versing, and secondly, last time we talked about it was the best. He's rich and he's proud of himself because he had the best versing. And the second person, which is a female, she knows nothing about her medical history and she do not care. And the third one survived, which is a miracle, and she has experience of how it feels like to be in her shoes at that moment when she still had the before she survived. So she had the experience of it, and she would like people to be in that experience also. And the third one had side effects. He's also poor and he's devastated, disappointed, and he feels like everything is useless to him right now because nothing is working. And I'm going to put this in countries also because I analyzed it, checked the countries of how we worked it out. So I'm going to tell you the first one. I'll make an example with US. Has the best version, very rich, proud of themselves. Okay, that's an example by the way. That's US. And John Doe, which is the female, which knows nothing about her medical history. I'm going to make that with Nigeria because Nigeria don't know anything about their medical history. They are just there. Medical history doesn't. I don't think so. We have medical history in Nigeria. So that is going to be Nigeria. The third one survived, which is a miracle, and they have experience, so they will try to keep themselves. Um, they will be cautious of themselves. So that is going to be Spain, and the fourth one, which has twice side effect. I'm going to put that as Russia. Yeah. So I don't know what you guys think about that.
Wow, I mean, I think that's such an amazing analogy of how you went geographically from one region of the world to the next, based maybe on your research and also on your personal experiences. That
Yeah.
some people don't know their medical history because, one, they don't know it, or they don't want to know it, or they're not allowed to know it, or there are no resources for them to be allowed to know their medical history. Because I've asked many people, and this is not, like I said, this is not about third world, first world. I don't even understand that concept really because I feel like we all can learn something from each other if we listen. I keep saying listen, 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 because if I didn't learn to listen, I would not have been I would not have learned anything in life actually. But it's really important for people to know their blood type, because what happens is you can be an anyone. You can be a president or a madam president of a general assembly or a speaker or a president of international youth commission, but you don't know your blood type and you travel somewhere. Anything can happen. An accident happens. You need immediate blood and you don't know your blood type. And what if in that country, which could be anywhere, they don't have the resources to find out your blood type in time, or to test someone else to find out if they are O positive or O negative, which means that they can donate blood to you irrespective of your blood type sometimes. So not knowing your medical history is not supposed to be a scary thing more than knowing yourself, actually. When you know your medical history, you really know yourself on the inside. Not how you feel on the inside emotionally, but how you are on the inside systematically, for lack of a better word. And I really like that Mr. President opened with race because that's such a sensitive topic. Everyone's like, oh, I don't want to talk about that because it's such a sensitive topic. But yeah, it's a topic and it's an important topic and it needs to be discussed. And it's not a matter of who's more of this or who's more of that. But yeah, if someone is in a higher or better position to help, then they should. And if someone needs the help, they should learn to ask for the help without judgment of you're not good enough. So I don't know what Madam President has to say about that, what they've mentioned.
Well, as I said, I think praise is a really interesting thing to take into consideration here because, well, we said that what if we are in a